Wow, wasn't that intro music amazing?
It sure was.
Yeah, and new.
And shiny.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to demguyspodcast, the podcast where we really don't know what we're doing, but we try. So, today on the podcast, we have a guest, NihonTiger.
That intro music was awful.
Thanks.
I'm kidding.
Slash is gonna overlay that and put like some reverb on it or something, so it sounds like 9 trumpets, and it's gonna be awesome.
Do it.
So we're late, guys. What's up? It's been 3 weeks since our last podcast.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah, what's up with that, Matt?
Yeah, I think Slash was too busy
like
procreating or something.
Well, technically speaking, well, anyway. But yes, no, we have welcomed our third child into the world.
He'll
be,
Matt and his wife have. None of us.
Yes, not the Dumb Guys podcast.
I still only have one cat.
But yeah, he actually just turned 2 weeks old yesterday.
Yay.
Same birthday as our very own guest, NihonTiger.
Yes, indeed.
That is true.
It was intentional, wasn't it? You planned this whole thing out.
This whole thing out 9 months ago. I had a stopwatch. No,
I mean, it was pretty close to midnight, wasn't it? It was right at the.
It was very close to midnight. He was born at 11:17 p.m. And it was pretty funny because there's a point where there's not really much for me to do, so I'm just sort of sitting there waiting for the show to get rolling, and I'm in the Skype chat for the VBFS, and I'm commenting in there, just kind of waiting at things, and SnoShoe goes, well, today, in addition to it being Nihon's birthday, it was also Thomas Edison's birthday, and he's like, and so, like, midnight separates you from having your child share the birthday with Thomas Edison, or one of the Doobie Brothers. so
it's a very fine line.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like I'm glad that my son chose the former.
It looks like little baby Slash made a good decision.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, things are going quite well. I mean, we that's the reason the podcast is delayed a week, because the first full week back at home was a little hectic.
I can imagine.
So it was hard to get things together. But this one is actually quite a bit calmer in general than the first two were. It's a weird thing. I didn't even know that babies could get this, but both of my first two kids had acid reflux issues, like right from the start. And it made them miserable, and it was really difficult for them to, fall asleep and stay asleep, and, they were constantly needing to be consoled and whatnot. Whereas, typically if a baby is calm, you can kind of put them down, and, in their crib or whatever, and
tranquilize them.
Walk away and check on them later, and and it's not really an issue. But you couldn't put my kids down at all. And apparently, based on our experiences before and what we tried this time, apparently it has to do with dairy, because my wife nurses, and apparently, if she has dairy in her diet, that goes through the breast milk to the child, and the child has issues with those proteins, and it causes them all sorts of issues. So she cut dairy out preemptively before this one was due, like 2-3 weeks before the due date, and it has been much happier as a result. So
it's like double negatives for milk. If you combine milk with milk, then it turns into unhealthy milk.
If you allow milk in your milk, then the milk,
Too
milk,
much
milk, milk.
Now,
So,
Yo, dog, I heard you like milk in your milk, so you put milk in your milk so you can milk all your milk.
Hooked you up. Slash, I was wondering this only because my little cousins asked us the other day, not of you, but this was just a really awkward conversation. Have your kids, caught on to the fact that they don't get that same kind of milk?
it's funny. When my daughter was born, right? I have a son that's the oldest. He's 6, and then my daughter is 3, and then this one. And when my daughter was born, he started showing interest in wanting to nurse again.
That's what my little cousins did too, except he was like 6. And he asked about it. He was like, his dad was like, no. That's not okay.
That was... It was squelched pretty quick with my oldest as well. But now what I've found even more adorable and a little weird, but pretty darn cute is with my daughter. She hasn't shown any interest in nursing, but she has shown interest in being on the other side of the equation. So she'll walk around the house with one of her baby dolls, and she'll pull her shirt up and act like she's breastfeeding this baby doll, which is pretty darn cute. Like she wants to be just like her mommy.
Right.
But it's not. It's if you had told me that that's something that my daughter would do one day at 3 years old, I would not have believed you at the time.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be squelched at some point. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Don't let her go to preschool doing that.
Don't let her go to middle school doing that.
We told her this is a game that you're allowed to play at home, and that's the only place you're allowed to play this game. So, but she's been good, and they've both been absolutely wonderful with the newborn. They've shown so much love and being very helpful, and if we need him to go run and grab wipes or something, because this package ran out, we need a new package or whatever. They've been able to do that for us.
They're like FTB minions.
They are a little bit, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have to become a pop sensation to summon them, so
Nope.
Thank goodness for that.
I only had to help the Republicans.
Well, we'll leave it as an exercise to the listener to decide which is worse.
So let's do it. Let's get into the podcast for February 24th,
All right.
2014.
Quick question.
Yes, well, it's actually the 26th. Somebody put today's date
Oh my gosh.
in
Who could that be?
the header instead of the release
Yes.
date.
Good job.
Sorry, I thought he was so late that we had passed a couple of days.
But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about games. We're going to start with our guest, Nihon. What have you been playing
on.
lately?
I was just going to say, we never actually did introductions. We said Nihon was here.
Mm-hmm.
I figured we should probably just, in case anyone is listening for the first time, the rest of us could introduce ourselves.
If they're listening for the first time, they've already stopped by now.
that
I'm just
may
saying,
very
they
well
probably
be
didn't
true.
make it this far. We only have dedicated listeners at this point in the podcast.
Let's just skip it.
I'm
I think
SnoShoe. I did it
I think
anyway.
we'll be fine.
I'm Jerson.
I'm not doing it.
I knew that was coming.
Okay.
And he'll probably edit that out too. All right, Nihon, go for it.
Yes. Well, I have been mostly playing a bunch of games, like Minecraft. Usually it's a game I play a lot of and record a lot of. Spelunky, which I do a lot of playing and some recording of. I don't do it so much anymore because it kind of got a little tedious to have to do it every day.
Spelunky
Obviously,
did?
yeah. Well, I record it and edit it and upload it every time I did a daily challenge. Especially when half those ended up with me ending up on a spike somewhere in the first 3 or 4 levels.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are really into that right now. Like it's a big deal. I saw an article about the there was a guy that was like number 1 in the world or something, and he's making tons of money doing it or something.
Oh yeah, probably B-Rex. Bananasaurus Rex, for those of you who don't know. He's he's very, very good at this. He's a speedrunner. He does a lot of speedrunning. He does high score runs. He has the record now, actually. I think it's 3.1 million, something like
Wow.
that was the
Yeah,
score,
something like that.
which is ridiculous. He does stream on Twitch quite regularly, so I will usually watch him, and I've picked up a couple I wouldn't say tips, because he didn't really give out tips, but I've picked up a couple of strats, yeah, from watching what he does and kind of get an idea of how to handle some situations quickly. But I've also been playing Kerbal Space Program, in which case my next episode is actually coming out on Wednesday when this comes out, because it's a 2-parter. And the second part is, well, right now I'm kind of landing on the Mun, so I'm behind, a little bit behind where Slash is. I took a break for like a month, so because I got really busy with stuff, so I couldn't really keep up. But I'm catching up. I'm catching up. I'm on the Mun, and I'm heading for Minmus next. It shouldn't take me too long to get there and start basically exploiting the crap out of all the biomes to get as much science as I can, so that I can start going to Duna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually sent a on accident, I actually sent a unmanned probe into basically what would be doing an orbit. I was just like screwing around, being like, all right, I'm gonna get this into the sun or Kerbal orbit, and I'm like, wait a minute, this looks like it's gonna intersect with Duna. Holy crap, it is. And it didn't really intersect with it so much as when I went back to it like 3 hours later, the whole thing just flew apart.
Oh no!
I was like,
a victim of the Kraken.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got the science from it. I don't care. I've also been playing a little bit of Battlefield 4 here and there. Played the Titanfall Beta. Pretty fun.
Oh yeah, that's a big
game.
deal since we had the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
about that, so
it's already over.
I know that's the thing. Like the beta was not even a week long, was it?
Yeah, it was like a weekend, almost.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not really that opposed to it because I think betas are crazy right now, like everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not opposed to people just trying it out, and then they get the feedback they need, and then they still have the hype for it whenever it comes out. It's not like it's going to be a beta game that nobody buys once it turns into a full version.
Yep. So yeah, I'm thinking about that one, possibly playing it. I don't know. We'll see. And Attack of the B Team mod pack,
Attack of
which
the B Team.
Snow will probably talk a little bit more about that. He's been playing that a little bit more than I have, but it's pretty fun. It's kind of crazy. I'm kind of trying to learn Galactic Craft right now and get a rocket to go to the moon so I can build an evil base on the moon to go with my evil volcano base, which I have to keep building as well. I
haven't showed that off yet. I mean to keep showing your face on your volcano. It's
yeah,
funny.
I made for those of you that haven't seen any of the streams or videos, I am in a volcano biome, and I have a secret volcano lair. Well, it's not really secret, because my face is on the side of the mountain.
It's like a grayscale face. It's pretty cool looking, actually.
Yeah, I've had some practice. I've had some ideas on how I wanted to do that for a while, so this is finally happening. It's finally happening. The volcano base. Yes.
It's happening.
Are you guys playing on a server together? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. We're on the Panic Attack server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, we are. So,
Cool,
yeah,
cool.
I'll let Snow talk a little bit more about that, though.
I mean, we can do it right now. Why not?
Yeah,
Screw
sure, why
you,
not?
Drew and Slash. I'm skipping your guys' part, going straight to SnoShoe's part. I'm fourth in the list, if you guys didn't know. But anyway, yeah, for like the Panic Attack server, so it's DarkFan's server, if you guys, he's kind of a more prominent member. Also, I wanted to mention that NihonTiger is famous. Did you guys know that? You guys
Yes.
knew that, but...
I knew that.
No,
Yeah.
not really.
No, he's super famous, guys. He has the most subscribers here, for one. Yeah, but for two, at Minecon, in the contest, he won, like, a computer and an Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm. Signed Xbox by all the Mojang staff. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And
Which
he
is
was on
very,
the
very
stream and
cool.
everything. You can go look it up. He's wearing his little tiger
Yes.
sweatshirt. Easily recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just had to mention that in case you guys didn't know the magnitude of the guests we have here on the podcast.
No.
But more about Attack of the B Team. Yeah, you can blush later.
I said
More about
hush,
Attack of
but-
the B Team. Oh, we've got a server set up. We've got, like, how many people do you think we have on it? 10 right now or so? Probably more than
I'd
that.
say somewhere 12 to 15. It's probably somewhere in there.
Yeah. I think I can't remember if I barely mentioned it in the last podcast. I don't think I mentioned the server, but just the fact that the mod pack had come out. And it's got all kinds of just, like, mad scientists, meteorology, animals. It's, like, crazy, basically science pack. It's pretty awesome. But like Nihon said, the one thing I really want to do is go into space. And our server had the very first space sacrifice a couple of
poor
days
Tib.
ago.
Sacrifice?
Yeah, did you hear
Poor
about
Tib.
that? Tib Tuner went up into space, the first one on the server. And what exactly happened? I don't know the details of that, do you?
His ship exploded while he was loading in,
Oh no!
and he got stuck on the moon.
Like, there was no way for him to get off, right? Literally no way back.
Does he have oxygen up there, or does he just keep dying over and over?
He had oxygen. Keyword had.
Yeah, until it ran out.
So, like if you die on the moon, do you respawn back on the Minecraft world? Or?
No, I don't think you do.
Nope.
Yeah,
I think you
I think it
respawn on the
resets it.
moon.
Right.
Oh
I
wow!
think it's a completely different dimension, so...
Someone has to go rescue him.
Yeah, they did. Well,
Yeah,
we didn't actually have anybody rescue him, did we? I think we had to cheat.
No, we had to TP him out.
Man,
So
if
he
I
can stop
was
dying.
ready, that would have made a perfect video to go rescue him on the moon. That would have been fantastic.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I wasn't ready because I didn't have a rocket yet.
Yeah, I haven't started all that stuff yet, but that's coming. Don't worry, guys. Anyway, but is that all you've been playing, Nihon? That was quite a bit, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're pretty involved
I've
in
been
the
also
gaming
been, yeah, I've been trying out a couple other games as well. So we'll see those probably.
Top secret games?
I don't want to reveal them yet because I actually did videos of them as well. So one of them is a game. I might mention this later, but one of them is a game I have zero experience in that genre with, so or close to zero experience. So
hey, that's like me in every game.
All right, well, we want to move on to Drew?
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to point out that Nihon has way more games than I do this week.
Oh, it's true.
Yes,
the first time
yes.
ever. It's amazing.
I have
Amazing.
4 games this week.
2 of which you play every week.
Yes. And the only reason I even have 4 is because we went an extra week without recording. Because I had the flu, and it was really bad. And it was so bad that I couldn't even play video games while I was...
What? Oh, that's the worst kind of sickness.
No.
It was awful. So,
man.
That sounds pretty bad.
I'll be sending you money later or something. I don't know. Do we have to start a charity fund? Yeah, look at him. He's dying. Holy cow.
So, the first thing I played, which was way back, like, I played Minecraft way back, like, right when the last podcast came out, and I haven't played it since. So, it's been a while since I played some Minecraft. But what I did in Minecraft was I pranked Matt, and that was fun.
Yes, indeed.
That video came out a little
That was a good one. I liked that quite a bit because it had sort of almost a scavenger hunt kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Was that the power outage one, or was there a
Yeah.
separate
That was
one?
the power outage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also recorded a couple of other videos, which, because I've been sick and then I've been working a lot, I haven't had time to edit. So I recorded them like 2 weeks ago, and they're still not out on my channel yet. So they'll be coming out soon, hopefully. And then I played some Smite. Nothing really special about that. Just more.
Well, I was
Smite.
going to ask you about this since you brought up Smite. Have you heard of the new convention that Dead Workers Party is? It's not Dead Workers Party. I guess it's Smite that's actually doing the convention.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know too much about it, except that it's happening like during the Smite launch or whatever, and so they're having like a huge tournament. And that's actually, I'm pretty sure that's the money that I talked about from the Poseidon skin.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I was
pretty
trying to figure
sure
out.
that's the tournament that all that money goes to the winner. So, But what I heard on the Mindcrack podcast, which this is what I really want to see, apparently Good is going to be playing Smite at this
Yeah, it's
thing.
going to be like a celebrity round type deal.
Yeah, and that just sounds so hilarious.
Especially because he's never played the game before.
Exactly. I also played Battlefield 4. Still haven't really done a whole lot with the multiplayer because I'm still frustrated about the whole lack of a party system. But I went through and I was going to say I beat the campaign. I'm trying to remember if I actually finished it or if I just played a huge chunk of it.
Must not have been memorable.
I mean, it was like any other, like, it felt like the previous Battlefield game. Like, it wasn't a whole lot about the story. It was about lots of action and screen, and like cinematics with huge explosions and stuff, so. It felt like pretty much the same story. Like, there was stuff to do with terrorists and people trying to steal bombs and stuff, so. But it was fun. And then I played more of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which I know I talked about it one time before, and it's not an extremely well-known game, but to me, it is one of the most fun games I've ever played. And if you
That's saying a lot, guys.
yeah, it is.
He plays
Because Drew plays a
games.
lot of games,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
we've previously established.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you like Dungeons and Dragons or other fantasy role-playing type things, it's just such an amazing game.
Did you say Dungeons and Dragons or Dunkin' and Dragons? Like,
Dungeons and Dragons.
like it's a combination of D&D and Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
This would be
I think
all
we need to
over.
look
This
into
would be
that.
all over the place in New
Dungeons
England.
and Donuts.
Dungeons and Donuts.
I'm creating the
Just like
I'm creating the Kickstarter right now as we speak.
$150,000.
Didn't
get this off the
Kickstarter
ground.
like get hacked or something? So maybe
I do
Yes.
think I heard something about
maybe
that.
do like
Yeah, but as
Go or something like that.
yeah,
I've
never used Kickstarter, so it's not something that I really paid attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got hacked.
Okay. Well,
That's crazy.
those are my 4 games. So
All right.
Slash's turn.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. As far as me, I mean, I've actually gotten to play more than I expected to
Really?
since my son was born. Yeah, because he's been, I mean, I took 2 weeks off of work. Now the first week was, mostly spent in the hospital because we went in. We went on a Tuesday morning, and then they sent us home, and then we went back in later that night. And then we were in there until Friday. Normally, we would have been discharged on Thursday, but that was when the East Coast got hit with that big snowstorm that we'll be talking about a little bit later. But so that put the hamper on any gaming that I could have done that week. But I actually have had some time to do some gaming in the week since, and I got on VBFS. I got an episode out. I'm talking about the baby and showing off Nihon's build at my base, which I thought was very, very cool. We built like a cradle.
And then you spent like
as
20
on our
minutes
base.
answering one question from me.
I did. Well,
As
you know
if
what?
we don't do that on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But that's one of the reasons why I asked for questions, because I figured, these questions, that are posted on the Reddit, it doesn't take much for me to be able to fill half an hour talking on a single topic. So I'm horrible at coming up with the topics to think about. So I figured I'd crowdsource that particular issue. And then the other main thing that I've been playing is Kerbal Space Program. I have been trying to do as much science in the various biomes of Mun as I can, because each Mun is divided up into there's the different craters have their own biomes, and there's like midlands and highlands and stuff like that.
Canyons. And
Yeah,
a bunch
exactly.
Of stuff, yeah.
And there's probably about a dozen different biomes. I
think so.
On
I
Mun.
think it doesn't. I think it actually is 12 or 13, something like that. It's
Yeah,
quite a bit.
and you can each one that you go to, you can do you can do your temperature reading, you can do a materials bay thing if you've got the Science Junior, you can do mystery goo, you can do surface samples, you can do EVA reports, you can do crew reports, and every single one of those counts for a full value per biome.
Yes.
So you can really maximize the amount of science you can get from that one planetoid, that one satellite, by hitting all the different landing locations. And so I built a craft, and I actually did a whole bunch of, and I did it all off camera because it was very grindy and I didn't think that it was going to make for entertaining video, but I actually did 4 simultaneous missions. I would launch a craft, get it into orbit, get it on a moon trajectory, and then go back to the Space Center and launch another one with another Kerman. And I'd have 4 of these heading off to Mun, just on their own. Because if you're not time warping, it takes literally hours to get from Kerbin to Mun.
Yep.
So you can go and do your launch stuff for another craft in the meantime and have it just coasting along without having to worry about interacting with it. And so I ended up sending a total of 12 missions to Mun, trying to get them to each of the biomes. And of those 12 missions, 3 landed, collected science, and returned to Kerbin successful.
I guess that's a bad percentage.
That's not the greatest success rate.
No.
So how many people died?
1 Kerbin was lost because I forgot to quick save.
What was
Otherwise,
his
I would have
name?
been able to save him. Oh gosh,
You don't even
I
know.
don't remember.
Moment of silence for what's his name, Kerbin.
For underscore Kerbin.
And then, let's see, 7 of them successfully landed and did their science, but they either landed and then toppled over on their side, or they landed, and upon landing, I realized that I didn't have enough fuel to actually get on a return trajectory back to Kerbin, so I just left them parked.
So they get to live there.
And then one landed successfully and then took off, and then it wasn't until after I took off that I realized I didn't have enough fuel, so I put him into moon orbit, and he was just circling around Mun. So I did all of that off camera, and I actually have 2 hours of footage I have to go through. I went back in and I launched a rescue mission with some new parts using some of the science that I got from the 3 completely by-the-book missions to try and go to Mun, pick up a stranded Kerbin, and fly him back. And it took a couple of tries to get the right rocket design. They didn't fall apart on me. And then it took me a little bit of effort to actually get to Mun and back with this, because I was using the larger parts, and it's much clunkier and difficult difficult to manage.
A lot harder to steer to those bigger rockets.
But I will say that, since recording that footage, I did go back and end up recovering all of the Kerbins around Mun. So, pretty successful.
Did you happen to see Tib Tuner Kerman?
He was like waving while standing on the moon.
If he's there, he's no longer emitting life signs.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Poor guy.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like what I'm planning to do with Binmus into Mun. It's just launch a whole bunch of them. And I know I've got a rocket that can make it there, make it back, so...
What kind of Kerbals or Kerman guys are volunteering for this mission? Like, do they
Stupid
know
ones.
that you guys are the ones behind this?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, the main Kerbin is Jebediah, and he is absolutely nuts. Like, he's running a space program out of his garage, is essentially the backstory for this. Like, it's all, everything is based on, like, hey, you look at the description of a rocket engine, and it says, cobbled together from the best parts Jeb could find from the junkyard, that sort of thing. So all of your initial one-man missions are Jeb, assuming you don't kill him, And it's Jeb, Bill, and Bob are always available, and they will resurrect if you kill them. They will eventually come back. But then all the rest of the guys you have to hire from the astronaut complex, and and eventually they're going to have stuff where you can like train them and try to they're going to have they already right now they have courage and stupidity are the 2 stats that the game provides, and they're just whatever you get. You can't adjust those at all. But at some point in the future, you're going to be able to train them, I guess, to increase their courage and decrease their stupidity, or maybe they'll add other stats or whatever. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing where they go with that moving forward. But it is pretty funny. Most of the time, I think the Kerbins are quite aware that this is not a safe activity for them to be engaged in, because they put that little in-camera or in-vehicle camera down in the corner, and you can see their faces, and the vast majority of the time they don't look happy.
They look a little nervous.
They look a little nervous and
shocked.
Yelling and screaming, and they get to space and they're like, "Oh, this is nice.
Oh, this is kind of cool," And then you go for a landing on Mun, and they go back to the screaming and yelling and freaking out face.
And they land on the Mun, and they're like, "Oh, this is nice." And then they touch down. They touch down the Mun, and they explode.
They should add some like the RPG stats. So like you should be able to increase
like
their
strength
stealth
and con and
or attack speed.
I'll tell you what, I could certainly go for some faster Kerbins. They are dead slow when they're on EVA, and you're trying to walk them place to place. Because I mean, when I sent these rescue craft up, trying to land a reasonable distance away from another craft on the surface of Mun is very difficult. It takes some very precision, flying to be able to get to that point. Because again, you're not flying like a traditional airplane or helicopter type thing. You're flying something that shoots fire out of its rear end. And that's how you steer, is by shooting that fire in a particular direction. Then you have to think sort of backwards from, because like if I want to go this way, I have to tilt the back end of the ship the other direction.
Right.
It's very complicated. So, I mean, it was not unusual for me to touch down 10 kilometers away from the Kerbin I was trying to rescue, and then trying to get him to traverse that distance in a way that, he wasn't going to then crash and explode himself at the other end of that path was quite the challenge. And I had a close call with Jeb, as a matter of fact.
No, not Jeb.
Yeah, I couldn't see very clearly the contour of the ground, and I had him going a lot faster forward than I thought he did. When he hit the ground, he just sort of started tumbling and bouncing around. And if they hit hard enough, they will just poof into nothingness. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was a bit harrowing. That game is far too stressful. No game should cause that much stress.
That. Like, I'm not gonna LP it or anything, but I'm gonna have to start playing because you guys always talk about it, and I'm always interested.
I'm not smart enough to play that game.
I think that's the point. That's why Zisto calls his Kerbal Space Explosion.
Mm-hmm. I like my I can't help but chuckle here. Drew says, "I'm not smart enough to play that game," and then there's just a beat where nobody objects.
I'm sorry, Drew.
Like, we're all pondering it, and we're like, yes, that's a fair assessment. Yes, yeah.
Quite so.
Okay, that's enough Kerbal Space Program for this podcast.
Yes,
anything else,
indeed.
Slash? You've been playing the game of life besides that?
That's been the main thing. I have been on PlayMindcrack, and I've been getting a kick out of the Valentine's.
I haven't even seen that yet. I can
stuff that they have. And you know what's really weird about it is in one of the lobby servers, they have like a weird King of the Ladder that goes to a parkour like set of platforms,
right?
That is using the launch pads, but it's not in every lobby server. So sometimes you connect and you get a lobby that doesn't have it, and you have to like jump lobbies to try and get to the one that has it if you want to do something with it.
I wonder why they did that. That doesn't make any sense because it's going to make all their lobbies unbalanced.
I've seen other lobbies that have different activities to do.
Right, but you would think the point of having that many lobbies is to disperse your traffic. So if you make them all different, inherently one's going to be better than another one, and it's going to unbalance them because people are just going to keep going /hub until they get the popular one.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems a little odd, but I was having some fun with that as well, and I get a kick out of the Paradise Island thing that they have because they have these trivia games that are just this trivia game up there that's absolutely ridiculous. The questions that they ask, like one of them's like Badge wants to try and get the most Valentines. Which strategy will be the most successful? And it's like the three choices are something like putting on a badger costume, getting engaged to a European princess, and something else. It's like, you have nothing to go on. You're just basically like clicking through. I have a 1 in 3 chance on each question.
That's Rob for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Good said Rob just like came up with the questions, and Good's like, you know what? Whatever. Go ahead.
Whatever, Rob. Yeah. Have fun.
And I thoroughly enjoyed the how it normally has the little intro thing. It's one of the Mindcrackers saying, like, welcome to the PlayMindcrack server.
Yeah.
Well, for this one, Rob recorded a bunch of hilarious, like, smarmy radio host, like radio DJ type voices for it. And one of them goes, I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. And if it's not Tuesday, whatever. You can't expect me to keep updating the resource pack.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 1 in 7 shot at least.
Welcome back to W92 Badge.
Dude, that's the one thing I really like
W92
about Rob is his Mindcrack podcast intros. Those are also fantastic. And like he can make one every week and they're actually like the production quality is fairly good on them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, Nihon, you had a couple of news
it's
topics
cool.
or whatever
just
you want to talk
Just
about.
skip my games.
Yeah, way to skip.
Wait, hey, you went on a turn.
No, I only
so
did half
you already
of mine.
talked about your stuff.
No, not
That's
all
true.
of it.
You do have some. You do have other stuff. That's right. I forgot you had other things.
Okay.
Go ahead, Snow.
You know what it is? It's because I didn't put that comma that we were talking about earlier. There. Now the comma's there, and now you can clearly tell that I forgot.
Oh,
my
yes, Snow has things to talk about. Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's not really that big of a deal, but I did reach my little mini 200 subscriber milestone thing. So I decided that I have something important to me coming up, and that is March Madness. I don't know if you guys are even into it or not. I know Nihon's probably the biggest sports fan out of you three.
Yep.
And I guess
Yeah,
your guys' country is kind of college basketball territory a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. It always seems like the Northeast is to me, but I guess not.
Here it's just Ohio State country. Like everything Ohio State is like, are they playing something? Yes, then we like it. And I'm like, yay. God, you people are insane.
Well, on that note, March Madness, insane madness. I was going for that. It didn't work very well.
Nice.
So March Madness is coming up, obviously, in March, which is 7 days away from now. Only 5 days away for you guys. And that's like my favorite sporting event. Maybe besides the World Cup, but I think I'm going to do another one of these for the World Cup. So basically, March Madness are 64 basketball teams that are all going to play in this giant tournament. It's crazy. And what I'm doing is I'm giving everybody who wants to enter the contest, all you got to do to enter this contest is say, hey, I want to enter the contest. And you're in. And I'm going to give you a team out of those 64, and then you're going to cheer for that team. If that team wins the entire tournament, then you'll win pretty much any Steam game you want. That's like $60 or under. So... it should be fun.
It's a very cool idea.
You said 50 in your video. You're upping it.
I'm upping what? What am I upping?
You said $50 in your 200 subscriber video. Now you're going 60.
Yeah. Well, that's when I realized, some games are actually $60, but anything above $60, and I wrote in my contest details, I wrote $60 if you're a nice person, so I'll stick to that. $50 if you're just a total jerk. And then if you're nice, then I'll fudge that extra $10. But anything above that, I looked on the Steam website, there's nothing above $60 that you should want. So I'm not buying you like software or something. You're not going to get like production quality stuff. And if you guys want fraps too, you can do that. Because that's cheaper.
I mean, I have it, but that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I haven't announced that. I'll probably do it in then my next whatever episode. But yeah, so that's pretty much my whole idea. I want to get people interested in it because that's the thing is that even if they're all ranked, there's four. There's basically seeds, so that's what your rank is in the tournament, and it's 1 through 16. So there's 4 number 1s, 4 number 2s, 4 number 3s, and you get to the final 4, and that's when you really are starting to think about who's going to win. And there's only, I think only one time in the history of the tournament have all 4 number 1s made the final 4. So even if you have like a number 5 ranked team or something, there's still a chance they're going to win the tournament. That's like the coolest thing. So having a team being able to cheer for them, that's what I want people to do. So,
yeah, and that's like I said, that's going to be about the only thing that gets me watching it. I think
you got to cheer for your team. Yeah, you're going to get like Valparaiso or something. Yeah. Number 15, you're going to be on the first round. No, I think luckily, I'm probably only going to have maybe it's going to be somewhere in between 16 and 32 entries, unless it catches fire or something. So each person should be able to have somewhere between 2 to 4 teams. So you should have like a Cinderella team and a good team, and then maybe a mediocre team. So
awesome.
All right.
Should be fun. Anyway, that's all I've been doing, and then Minecraft and stuff. I've had to take a little bit of break because I had some actual real life work stuff to do, which sucks. Screw real life, guys. I want to do podcasts all day. I've tried.
I hear that.
Been told to shut up, but
I think if you wanted to do this podcast every day, you'd have to take over the editing from Matt, probably.
No, he's got time. Are you kidding me? He's got plenty of time on his hands with 3 kids.
Yeah.
No, actually, Matt does a pretty good job getting it up in 2 days. That's pretty impressive.
Pretty
I don't
good.
know if I'd be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt does a great job.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, look at you. All right, moving on to news. That's enough for the sappy games section. Now for the news section. I completely stole that from The Shaft, by the way. I don't know if anyone has realized that by now, but
I've only ever seen like one episode of it, so...
What? They're all about Smite. How have you not watched The Shaft?
I
mean, The Shaft is about Minecraft.
Right, yeah, it's about Minecraft.
The podcast after that is about Smite. Anyway, I digress. So, Nihon, I guess gets to go first. What kind of news do you have?
Well, you talk about madness. Is it snow madness?
Yeah.
Yes, is it
snow madness.
Much snow madness?
I get what
Oh yeah,
you're
snow madness all over here.
You just incorporated like 5 topics into one right there, I think.
I just made a segue. Is what I did.
That's how it's
like
done.
One of my
No, that was 2 of them because you got the friggin' weather too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, one of my topics is the fact that tonight actually is the launch of the WWE Network, and for those of you who've watched my VPFS episodes recently, you know I'm a little bit of a wrestling fan, and I haven't bought it yet. It's $9.99 a month, so
Man,
it's
that's
not
steep.
too bad.
Is that
Oh, no.
always what networks are and stuff like that?
Yeah, Netflix is like $7.99 or something like that. They're like $8.99 or something. But basically, what it is you get access to most of the pay-per-view library that they've had since like 1985. So pretty much like all the past WrestleManias and all the past pay-per-view events, and I think they're working on getting stuff up kind of over time. They have, for those of you that don't know, Vince McMahon, who owns WWE, has over the years purchased numerous wrestling libraries, like old wrestling stuff. So he's like WCW and ECW and really old promotions like AWA, I think is one of them. I'm not sure if he has AWA. I'll have to check on that. Yeah, so there's like all kinds of old school stuff, not only just like the stuff from the 80s and 90s that WWF or WWE, as it's now known, put out, but like older footage as well. So I think they're going to roll that out. Probably will roll it out over time. I think they have something like 1,000 hours worth of stuff on there right now, plus original programming. And if you are a network subscriber, you do have to subscribe, I think, for 6 months on the $9.99 thing. So it comes out to about $60. But you get all the pay-per-views that they do every year. As long as you're on the network, you get them all. And that includes WrestleMania. So basically, a lot of people that would spend the $60 on WrestleMania, you probably would, you get the spend
whole network.
Yeah, you get the whole network for 6 months. You get all the pay-per-views, and it's not a bad deal when you look at it. I just haven't figured out if I want to jump in on it yet or not.
Here's what you gotta do, Nihon. Now, I don't think any internet cops are watching here. So what you should do is you buy it for $60, and then you get it on your computer, record it, and then sell it for $10 a pop. The whole library.
No. They're
No, dude, you totally got to do that. That'll make up your $60 easy.
They're very closely watching piracy and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they're taking down a lot of stuff that used to be on YouTube. I know. So they've probably got this all figured out. And the other thing actually is, speaking of wrestling, WrestleMania 30 is, I want to say it's in April. I think it's the first weekend in April. But it's in New Orleans this year at the Superdome. So that should be crazy. I am not going. I'll probably be watching it somewhere, but I don't know how the show is looking so far. Some of the matches that they've announced aren't very interesting to me, so we'll have to see what they come up with. But it's kind of a big deal. They brought back Hulk Hogan for hosting duties for WrestleMania 30.
How old is that guy?
Oh, he's ancient.
He's got to be like 70 years old.
He's probably pushing 70, I think.
I will check this right now.
Yes.
Continue with your thing. I will update you.
All right. So the other thing that we were talking about, I have this feeling, Snow just search in the background for Hulk Hogan.
He's 60 right now, by the way.
60. Okay, thank you.
He's 6'7". That's amazing. Anyway,
he's
300 pounds. Holy crap, man! He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude. But yeah, the freaking weather is something else we can talk about.
Yeah.
You guys are all kind of up in the same area, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had a bunch of snow last couple weeks, and then it got warm and it melted and flooded around here a little bit, and flooded out some of the fields, and they got cold again, and now all the fields are frozen over.
See, I went to a kind of almost skipping into my section a little bit. I took a trip to Chicago in the past week, and I did a couple of weeks ago too. So like the first time I went, the temperature was -5 with a wind chill of -25, which was just freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And all I had was like a thin jacket, and I was an idiot. And then last time I went, I was like, I had to get a rental car. I was like, just give me something that'll drive on ice. And I get there, and it's like 35 degrees, and everything is just melting. It looks like Chicago has been rained on for the past, 4 weeks or something, just because of all the snow melting everywhere. It was crazy. And I think they were flooding from it a little bit.
Probably.
And then the next day, it rained. It delayed my flight a little bit, which was fine. But then it really did flood. It rained like an inch and flooded all of Chicago.
Wow.
Because of all the snow melting in the rain. It was pretty insane.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Chicago, I'm segueing here again in case you don't have much experience with this. Oh,
No, I have no experience with this.
if you got, that's right. You guys want to talk about weather stuff too? Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that out here where I am, so 3 weeks ago we had power outage, and then 2 weeks ago we had over a foot of snow, and then just a couple of days ago it warmed up, and because of all the snow melting and stuff, we had a ton of fog, and it was just crazy. And then and also with the fog, we had a massive rainstorm. So, yeah, it all together, it was just like.
I think you should probably like start building an ark or something. Like, I don't know what all you believe in. It doesn't even really matter at this point, but I think something bad is about to happen. Don't worry about the animals. Just start, get some wood together, start building the boat, just in case. I think it'll be all right. Us down here in the south will be fine. We've got plenty of boats.
All right. So I can segue now, correct?
Hit it.
All right. So speaking of Chicago, one of the great comedic minds come out of Chicago, which would be Harold Ramis. He who wrote Ghostbusters and wrote and directed Caddyshack and
I didn't know actually
Groundhog Day. He co-wrote it with Dan Aykroyd. He was one of the writers. And he was one of the writers on National Lampoon's Animal House, and he worked on National Lampoon's Vacation, and basically like every hilariously funny movie for like the past 20 years that everybody likes. He passed away this morning at 69.
Yeah, that was the other crazy thing. We talked about this earlier. I can't believe he was 70 years old. Like, you think about Ghostbusters, and maybe it was just because I probably saw it 10 years after it came out or something, because I watched it when I was younger, and it had come out a long time before that, but, I mean, I would have guessed the dude was probably like 50.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's been around since the late 70s, so he's been quite active, but yeah, he passed away. He had some kind of rare disease or disorder or something, and he died of complications from it. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
that's morning.
2 podcasts in a row, guys.
I know.
Last time we had Philip Seymour Hoffman die too.
Damn it! Stop doing this. Stop killing people's snow.
We should totally stop doing this whole podcast before Drew dies.
Yeah, I had one more thing to talk about. Other than for those who didn't see my list, I went through like 4 things, and the 5th thing is question marks, and the last thing is profit. It's obviously a South Park reference. But the thing that was at the top of my list is the thing that just happened today, which was WMC8, which is the ultra hardcore recorded round that I was in this year.
What was the name of it this year? Because I know, if you guys aren't familiar, it's the Reddit / ultra hardcore.
Yeah, it was Win Miner's Crown. So it was a Kings-based game, 6 teams of 4 players, 24 in total.
Yeah, I watched the intro videos for that.
Yeah, basically there's one player that's a king, and they have double health and a couple other buffs, but if they get killed, you got like weakness and poison or something like that.
Jeez.
So yeah, so basically you want to keep your king alive.
You weren't the king, were you?
No, sadly not. I wish I was. But yeah, that just ended today. Recording this on Monday, so it ended on Monday. I have to keep reminding myself that it's not going up right away.
See, you guys got completely screwed though, because it was literally the first day of the first episode,
I know.
Right?
Yeah,
like
first
lined
day
up
that Mindcrack
perfectly
did it.
with Mindcrack UHC. So
Damn them.
I usually watch a couple of the WMCs. And what I was talking about earlier is it's normally when miners in the sea they change it every season.
Yes.
So it's been like when miners cave, when miners cry, when miners all kinds of stuff like that. But I normally watch a couple of episodes. I might have to go back and watch it if I have a backlog. If I don't have a backlog of episodes to watch.
Definitely go back and watch it.
Is it a good one?
Yes, probably the best season so far.
Hype, everybody. If you're tired of Mindcrack UHC, which I'm sure everybody's tired of Mindcrack UHC, you should go check out UHC.
They're not doing anything in Minecraft. They're just running around until Pause kills them all. So
that's true.
That's spoilers. That's what's going to happen. Pause's going to kill everybody. Game over.
Yeah. Nihon's only watched one episode of it, obviously.
No, I've watched the whole thing.
I was anti-spoilering for you.
Yes.
Speaking of the Mindcrack UHC, I wanted to mention no, this shouldn't really be a spoiler. If you've seen the first minute of any of the first episodes, you'll already know this. They're using a really cool Mumble plugin while they're playing UHC, which allows you to hear voices directionally and also like distance wise. So like in game, if I was like 5 blocks away from Snow and facing him, it would sound a lot clearer than if I was
right, the volume
30 blocks away and facing away. Yeah. And so they're walking around talking to their teammate or whatever, and then they might suddenly hear a voice, and it's another team that just came into range of their audio. So it's really cool.
So let's try, I want to analyze this a little bit. Let's only go, if you guys haven't seen like the first 4 episodes, and don't listen, because I think we can analyze it only talking about stuff that happened in the first 4 episodes or so. So, I can't tell if I like it yet or not. Like, I really, really like the idea, but some of the execution of it has been a little off to me. Like, the thing I really can't handle is the whole nether overworld thing. Because...
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't realize it at first because I haven't been watching all of the perspectives. I've only been watching 1 or 2.
Right.
But then, like, I'll go check out another perspective if I can tell from the chat that something cool or interesting happened. So
yeah.
So yeah, I heard.
I think it was episode 3 or 4 when Kurt and Michael heard somebody else going into the Nether, and like they spent a whole episode being quiet, trying to avoid being detected because Kurt and Michael are playing ridiculously passively this season. It's crazy.
Well, it's
driving
because
me
they
insane.
started with such low health.
Still, though, I mean, when you're one of the last 3 teams or something and you're blocking up... Oh, there was a spoiler. When you're blocking up everything from creepers, it's a little crazy. I don't know. Kurt and Michael are 2 pretty passive players in general. Yeah. But they're going... I mean, every time they see a mob, it's like, oh, zombie, and they'll just run back in their hole and block it up. Whereas you watch another team, like, from the beginning, MC and Nebris, just running into caves and seeing mobs left and right. They've been the most entertaining for me so far. I don't know about you guys.
I haven't actually watched their perspective yet.
Really? Oh man, MC is one of the ones I always have to watch until he dies. I've got to watch all of his episodes because I don't know. He and I have similar humor, I think.
We started watching UHC with Kurt way back at like season 3. That was actually how I got into Mindcrack in general. Was through Kurt, and so we always start with Kurt. And then go from there to, we usually pick up Beef these days when he's playing.
Poor Beef, that's the other thing. All of us being on the Vintage Beef fan server. He was at his parents' house. He's just away, I guess.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember him talking about that.
That's so sad.
And then, who else have we been checking out this season? Generic B. And Badge. They're actually pretty entertaining, that pairing. I didn't know what to think of that pairing, because I like Badge with other people. I've watched some of Badge's solo videos, and I have a tendency to kind of drift off a little bit.
I know where you're going with this, and I agree.
Yeah, but he's great with other people, and he's actually was a lot more animated with Jenny than I thought he would be. You know, I thought it would be mostly generic, and then a couple of snide comments from Badge, and that'd be it. You know.
Yeah, I kind of thought Badge was gonna just like get annoyed with Jenny.
No, they're both pretty drunk, so I think it all worked out. Generic is super drunk, you can tell.
It's pretty hilarious, but yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying this season, and like with Kurt and Michael, I love I don't know, there's something about them that I think is pretty hilarious.
That's what we were just saying how passive they are. It's like I don't know, it bothers me, but it's some people's play style, I guess. But it's always funny to me just seeing them just see something like 30 blocks away, turn around and run back in their hole, and then they both start pacing, and they don't know what to do, and they're like, okay, we'll take this out systematically. It's like, guys, it's a spider. It'll be all right.
We need to develop a battle strategy for taking out the spider. Right. Yeah. I started off watching Sisto because he's actually got the skin I made for him.
I forgot.
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
Once again, Nihon is famous.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I made him one that he used for. Was it 12? Was the one that he had the first? I can't remember if it was 12 or 13, but one of them.
I think it was 12 because it wasn't the last one. I think it was the one before that where he did the Dragon Ball Z skin.
Because he had mentioned in 11 that he was like Piccolo, so I'm like, oh, I'll just make a skin based off of him. He liked it so much he wore it in 12, and then he asked me later to do one for him without the armor that Piccolo had on for 14. So.
That's very cool.
It's pretty cool.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and now I've been watching Pause, Pause's perspective for the most part. Actually,
I always end up watching.
I went from Zisto to Doc to Pause. So.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You know, this one. Let's see. I think it was either episode 4 or episode 5. I won't say anything about it because I can't remember which one it was. But the one where people start to die, because obviously that's going to happen, guys. Don't worry.
Right.
Yes.
When people start to die, that has been one of my favorite episodes of UHC so far. That single episode
Oh my
was
God.
amazing.
Yeah, I think I know exactly the kind of interactions you're talking about here.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, it was just like you had to. I don't think I finished the entire episode because what I do is whenever I think something's going on, I'll start a video and I don't go all the way through it. I'll go to the point where I think something else is going on in another video, and then I'll start the other one. And so it was just like I was watching like 9 videos before I actually finished the entire episode.
Wow.
It was pretty awesome.
Caca.
Yeah. Okay, did that bother anybody else? Maybe I just get too angry over this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It made me angry. Because, like, whenever he did that, the first time was fine. The first time was kind of funny. But the second time... Actually, the first time was when MC and Nebris spent an entire episode trying to look for him. After they heard that. And they were just quiet. And Nebris was freaking out about it. But anyway. I think we've probably touched on enough UHC there.
Yes.
Without spoiling it. We'll get it... I think we'll be completely ready to talk all the way about it in the next podcast.
Yeah,
I would hope
hopefully.
so.
Who knows at this point? It's not over, guys.
Okay, well, one more thing. My other sort of news item. I don't know if you guys have heard of Twitch Plays Pokemon.
I have.
I was going to break this
hilarious.
whenever we started doing it last week, and it was like only the 4th day, and I was going to be the one that was like telling people about it, and it was going to be awesome, and now we had to delay a week.
So
How long has it been going on, Drew?
Sorry,
Do you know?
Snow.
I do not know. I had heard about it and didn't really fully understand what was going on, but then one of my friends actually like brought up the live stream and explained it because he had done it a little bit. So what's going on is some guy came up. I don't fully understand like how he made it, but it's Pokemon Red, and it's being live streamed on Twitch. But the way it's being played is you can actually enter in the Twitch chat, up, down, A, B, start, select, whatever, like one of the controls that would be in the game, and it will take that command from the chat and enter it into the game. And so it's averaging like 70,000 viewers, I think, something like that.
And people are pretty angry about this because it's taken away a lot of Twitch traffic, and it has been going on for 11 days. So it's been taking away people's Twitch traffic for quite a while.
They moved them to a dedicated server, I think, too, didn't they? Because it was so...
Yeah, there was a petition to get people to shut down Twitch Plays Minecraft, or Twitch Plays Minecraft. Oh God.
Oh man, Twitch Plays Minecraft. We got to get on that.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be.
Twitch Plays UHC.
I'm kind of
Twitch Plays UHC
on Teams. That would be fantastic.
It would be dead in seconds. I'm a much newer Pokemon fan, but I was very entertained, and my friend showed me the subreddit for Twitch Plays Pokemon. And there's
a ton of great.
There's all sorts of memes that come out of it because it's like he'll go into the room where like the gym leader is, and he'll like run around in circles, and then apparently he actually, after spending like hours trying to get through the puzzle to get to the gym leader, he used the ability Dig, which just took him out of the entire gym. And so he had to do all of it again. But it shows it from like it's like a little comic strip, and it shows it from the gym leader's perspective. And he's like, I'll easily take on this foolish boy or whatever. And then he comes into the room with like these crazy wild eyes and like runs all around the room and runs into walls and stuff. And then he just digs out. It's so great.
Digs a hole in the middle of the floor. That's pretty funny. So I don't know if you were gonna touch on this, Drew, but the one big thing, like the main theme so far in Twitch Plays Pokemon has been the Helix. Is it the Helix Stone?
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but yeah, it's the Helix fossil.
Helix fossil, that's what it is. And so it's an item that you get in Pokemon Red, and basically what it is it's just a fossil that you have to take to Cinnabar Island. I think that's where it is.
I don't know.
And you can revive it to make, I think it's at Ammonite. And
Yes.
so the funny thing about this fossil is that, you know, everybody's controlling him, so constantly people are pushing start, select, up, down, AB. So there's a ton of times
there's the Twitch delay. And so by the time the commands get to the game, it's like 30 seconds from when you were seeing what was going on. So yeah,
but they're still kind of able. I mean, so far they've gotten I think 6 badges, so they're actually able to progress throughout the game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But as they're progressing, it's just taking a ridiculously long time. Like I said, it's been going for 11 days. But every couple of steps they would bring up the start menu and then go into the inventory. And the first item in the inventory was the Helix fossil. So every couple of steps, it would say, you know, you would walk a couple of steps, and then he would look at the Helix fossil, and then he'd get out of that menu, and then take another couple of steps and look at the Helix fossil. And so there's a ton of great art of people saying, you know, they're praising the Helix fossil, calling it a god and everything.
And that, like during battle, they're like, consult the Helix fossil.
Right. It's like the SpongeBob magic conch type thing.
Oh, hail the magic conch.
Yeah. So there's a ton of awesome stuff coming out of there from that. And people are tired of it by now, because it's, like I said, it's been 11 days on the internet, so it's past its prime. But the other funny thing was that they really needed a Pokemon to be able to surf on, and they didn't have one until they got this Eevee, and they were going to evolve it into a Vaporeon so that they could teach it surf and be able to surf to, I can't remember where it was, but they were trying to surf somewhere. And so they get to the store to buy the correct stone, and they finally get to the menu, and they're pulling up the stone menu, and of course they go down and they select the fire stone instead of the water stone. And so they evolved the Eevee into a Flareon instead of a Vaporeon. And so it was, from then on, Flareon was pretty much the devil.
At one point,
the Helix fossil.
Apparently they went to the PC and accidentally released like one of their best Pokemon.
Yeah, they released Jay Leno. That's the other hilarious thing, is that since all of, you know, ask, do you want to rename this Pokemon, and it always ends up being yes for the most part. And so whenever it asks what you want to name it, it just gets randomly named, like ABBA or something or other. So they had this Rattata that was named like JLNNNNNNO. And so it was named Jay Leno from then on. So right now, I'll look it up, but right now the lineup is I can't remember. They've got Bird Jesus, and they've got some hilariously named Pokemon. Anyway,
I'm checking this out on knowyourmeme.com. Has a couple of good summaries of the whole Twitch Plays Pokemon thing. They even have like a pie graph of the different activities that have occurred.
Yeah.
With the smallest slice being making progress, and the largest slice being looking at the Helix fossil.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's like I said, people are pretty tired of it by now because it's gotten so ridiculous, and people are wanting to shut it down and everything. But it's pretty good for a laugh if you don't know about it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably enough of that.
Yeah.
People are already probably tired of us talking about it from the get-go. Oh, by the way, they did revive the Helix fossil. They took it all the way to Cinnabar Island, because what they did was they got it out of their inventory accidentally, so they couldn't consult it anymore. Mm-hmm. They put it in the PC. So they finally took it all the way to Cinnabar Island and revived it into an Ammonite. So the Ammonite's nickname is like the Great One or something. Oh, here's the lineup. Okay, sorry, this is the last thing about it. So they have a Zapdos, which is named Anti-Judas or Jesus. They have a Venomoth that's named ATV, that stands for All Terrain Venomoth. They have the Ammonite, which is Lord Helix. They have a Nidoking that's called King Fonz. Then they have Bird Jesus. And then a Lapras that's named Air Jordan. Anyway, I thought it was pretty funny the first time I read it.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay, now that really is enough of that. So I guess, is it my turn for news?
Yeah?
Yep. Fire away.
Yes, finally. Man, I think this has been a long podcast. We're going to have to end it pretty soon, I guess. I'll skip a couple of my news topics, no problem. The DayZ lead developer is stepping down, which is probably a bigger deal to the Mindcrack podcast, because we haven't talked about DayZ really at all on here. But basically that game has been a giant letdown to everybody, because they're saying it's in beta. I think it's actually in alpha, and it's not going to come out of alpha until like a year from now, they've announced. And so now the lead developer is stepping down, but supposedly he's going to keep working on it, even though he's not going to be working for that company. So he's going to finish the game in the next, 9 years.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, we've already talked about my trip to Chicago. That was fun. Ate a lot of awesome food. Took pictures of all the food. I didn't post it on my Twitter because I'm not like that. I don't always post pictures of food. But if you guys want to see pictures of my food, just let me know. And then, speaking of food, I have 2 other food-related items here. That's crazy. First of all, it's been Valentine's Day since the last podcast. Did you guys get a lot of good chocolates? Or maybe you didn't have a Valentine, in which case I'm sorry for asking that question.
My wife and I, since even before we got married, completely, I don't know how we even came to the agreement. We just sat down one day and we were like, Valentine's Day is a joke, right? Yep.
I totally agree.
And we don't do anything for it.
My mom gets me stuff at least.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It does not pass. It does not pass the 9 a.m. check. Are you familiar with the 9 a.m. check?
No, I'm not.
The validity of a holiday is determined by where you are at 9 a.m. If you're in bed, it's a legitimate holiday. If you're at work or school or whatever, it's a Hallmark holiday.
What? So Columbus Day is legitimate, but Valentine's Day is not?
Correct.
Huh. Interesting.
I like this idea.
So that's pretty much all I got for Valentine's Day. My girlfriend got me a lot of cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. I got some awesome chocolates and whatnot. But I've got tons of chocolate right here, actually. It's my podcast food. It's sitting here by my feet.
I got from my parents. I got a bag of chocolate, but it was literally right during some of the worst part of the flu, and so I just stared at the bag. I'm like, oh.
You didn't do video games or chocolate.
I'm like, I'll eat it in a couple of weeks.
I bet that tastes so good.
No, I was just I don't even want to look at it right now.
The next food-related item, and the final item I have for news, is today I walked into my pantry, and I saw that my girlfriend had gone to the grocery store, which is always one of the best days of the month or the week or whatever it is, just because there's all kinds of, it's like walking into a candy store or something. There's all kinds of awesome things for me to eat, which makes her angry.
Here is food. Do not eat it.
Right. That's the opposite of what I do. So there was a can of Pringles up on the top shelf of them. And it wasn't like the normal cardboard cans of Pringles. It was, I don't know if they're all like this now, but I think it may be the Pringles stacks or something. Honestly, it may be the Lay's stacks now that I think about it. Anyway.
It's not even Pringles.
Yeah, it might not be, which is kind of invalidating my entire story. So pretend I didn't say that. But I ate one of these, and whenever you eat a Pringle, which way do you eat it?
You
Do you eat it the way that conforms to your mouth, or do you eat it where you get the flavor on your tongue?
I haven't eaten a Pringle in 8 years.
What? Okay,
I don't think that I'm qualified to ponder such matters of deep philosophy.
I mean, I would always eat them upside down. I don't know about you guys, but you always eat it the way you get the flavor on your tongue. Well, this time, I put the Pringle in my mouth, and because Pringles has always maintained that they have put the flavor on the top and you're supposed to eat it the way that conforms to your mouth, and that is how a Pringle is best experienced. Well, I ate this other one, and the flavor was on the bottom. So I was getting comfort and taste at the same time. Ooh, mind blown.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I think Lay's...
there was only flavor on one side of a Pringle.
Really? Yeah, there's always been only flavor on one side of the Pringle.
You can lick one side and you don't taste anything.
Right. If you lick the flavor off of one side, then the Pringle would just be a potato chip.
Wow.
Potato chips have
Anyway,
taste.
they
a
little bit.
I thought I spent too much time thinking on certain topics. But apparently...
No, this one was like, I didn't even spend
not-
any time. This was nature. Like, this was innate. I ate the Pringle and I was like, holy crap.
SnoShoe was born with this level of Pringle knowledge.
I was. And it felt right, okay?
I like how we talked about a baby being born earlier, and now this is nature.
This is
nature.
truly the
Pringles
miracle
and
of
flavor
life.
on one side.
He is a Pringles god.
So if you guys haven't checked out Lay's Stacks before, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is now that I'm talking about it, go look at Lay's Stacks and you will be amazed.
Wow.
That's all I have for news. I've broken my news. You guys go
It was
have your minds blown.
amazing news is what that was.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's podcast, this bi-weekly podcast.
No questions this week.
No questions. We are sad.
It's okay.
Yep.
We can
Next
entertain
time.
ourselves.
If you want to send us questions, you can email us at demguyspodcast
DEMGYSPODCAST.
at gmail.com,
Oh,
which
fantastic.
is on the screen right there.
Yep.
Wait, what were we supposed to do? We were supposed to announce that at the beginning of the episode too, weren't we?
Yeah, we keep forgetting. We'll do that next
No,
time.
you can edit it, right? Just
No,
drag this
that's
over.
That's
Dang
too
it.
hard. Nope.
Fine, we'll do it next time.
The heck with it.
Welcome to Dem Guys Podcast. And if you would like to email us a question,
It's the news. Email us a question.
Yeah. No, I'll drop it in somewhere randomly around maybe the 20-minute mark. We'll see what
Right.
happens.
Perfect.
okay,
People
well,
will be very confused.
Nihon, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
My
where
pleasure.
can people find you, Nihon?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/NihonTigerLP, on
LP.
YouTube at, yes, because I have the original one and I can't remember what the password is, so I just made a new one.
It's a tale as old as time.
Yes. But on YouTube, I am at youtube.com/NihonTiger. And yeah, that's about it.
And he's everywhere. You guys probably all already know him. That's what I always say. Nihon is the true Mr. Ubiquitous. Because I followed people on Twitter like for a long time, and then all of a sudden I'll see they're having a conversation with Nihon. I'm like, what in the world? How does he know this person, this person, this person?
I just do.
Yeah, Ref from the AlphaCraft server was like, when I was talking about having UHCs between the two servers, he's like, oh yeah, I really want to play against NihonTiger. I'm like, how do you know him? So,
They just do.
They just do. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Have a great week. Or 2 weeks. Have just a great life in general. I think that's a good statement from all of us.
farewell.
What am I doing?
We should be on time 2 weeks from today with the next podcast, I would expect. So
And unless
Stick
anybody
around.
else has any more babies? Anybody planning on having children?
that would be an awful fast turnaround for me. So no.
I mean, yeah. Unless you had babies like a fish or something. But anyway, the gestation period is smaller. That's enough of the biological. We'll see you in the next zoological podcast if you guys want to hear about that. But
Hey,
All right.
bye.
Bye.
See ya.
bye.
You're so terrible at endings.